So if you've ever worked in customer service, I can guarantee you there have been times where you've asked yourself what you've done in your life to end up here.
The past, I'm in the future. You mad they don't select.
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan and I make videos on lifestyle, womanhood, and mental health. I also do vlogs on day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life of the toddler, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below and be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss any uploads from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and thank you for your support. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about just working in customer service, how to survive a customer service job, and also how to defend yourself against not so nice customers. So anybody that has worked in a customer service type industry, if you've been watching my videos, you know that that's pretty much been the bulk of my employment for like 20 something years. It can be difficult. And a lot of times I feel like it's a battle because you're dealing with the public and your human side wants to go off on people that talk to you crazy, but the part of you that wants to be able to pay your bills and buy nice things says, let me just chill. There is an art to it, and I wanted to just kind of talk about some factors today. So if you are struggling in that area, if you work in customer service and you find yourself always blowing a gasket, or if you're thinking about going into customer service and need some pointers, definitely go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is focus on your mindset and understand that when somebody is talking to you crazy, the issue is almost never about you personally. This is something that took me years to get over because when somebody is talking to you directly, like cussing you out or going up about something that's going on with the company, you take it personally. I think it's just a human defense mechanism. But when you really listen to what they're talking about, it's about the company and you are a representative of the company, so they feel like they should take it out on you. Now, this does not excuse that type of behavior, but I do think that focusing on your mindset will help make the days a little bit easier. Just understanding that, this person is upset because of whatever company policy or just they could have done something wrong, but they're upset because you're not able to make it work in their favor. That is a personal problem to them that has nothing to do with you. Your job is to uphold whatever policies that the company has put in place and to try to help them the best that you can. And sometimes you're going to deal with people that, they don't see it that way. They're just going to talk to you crazy and they are going to insult and all this, that, and the third. But as long as you just kind of focus and understand that it's not about you personally, it is about the company or, whatever their issue is personally, I think that makes things just a little bit easier to kind of navigate. Okay, so my second tip in just kind of like dealing with difficult customers is never yelling back. So I've had several situations where I've been on the phone with someone or even in person in like past jobs where people get so angry that they're just sitting there yelling at you, like going crazy. My tip is to never, ever, ever, ever yell back. Number one, if this situation does get escalated, you are going to be looked at as if you didn't handle it correctly because you just should not be yelling on the job. You're hired to assist the customers, right? Now, this can sound crazy coming from me because I'm big on respecting boundaries, but at the same time, if you're working for a company, you do have a duty to, act like you got some sense, okay? Again, I know it's easier said than done, but it's also to kind of like protect your well-being. What I've noticed is the times, now I haven't done this recently, okay? But like I said, I've been working for a long time and these are things that I've learned over time. But I've had situations where I've gone back and forth with the customer and I've raised my voice to match their energy. Now, the only thing that got me was high blood pressure at the time. And then now I'm emotionally invested in a situation that really has nothing to do with me, okay? And you have to remember, you don't know these people. So don't let anybody that you don't know that has no bearing on your life, like take you there. It's just, you want to remain calm. Also, I've noticed that when you remain just kind of monotone and you speak to them in a lower voice, a lot of times they realize that they're the only one screaming, and then that will kind of inadvertently get them to stop yelling at you. I don't know what it is, and I think I learned a lot of this like dealing with small children. Sad to say, some adults act like small children, but like, I'm not gonna go back and forth yelling at a child, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a kid is going crazy or whatever, I'm gonna speak to them in a low voice, like, hey, okay, I wanna help you, but let's bring that, let's bring that tone down to an inside voice. Now, typically in a customer service situation, I don't tell them to bring their voice down. It's just kind of assumed that that's what I'm saying by the way I speak. Like, I literally will talk just like this. They could be yelling at me, saying a bunch of crazy stuff, and I'm still talking just like this. So try to practice that. Like, if you work in an industry where you get a lot of like crazy people, just kind of calling you super upset, super irate, speak to them in an extremely calm voice, and keep your tone quiet, keep your tone at an inside level, and I guarantee you will see some progress. People will kind of lower it and match your tone. Okay, so kind of piggybacking off of that second tip, my third tip is to remain calm and quiet if you're in a situation where someone's yelling at you, and do not interrupt them. Now, it's kind of the petty side of me, if I'm going to be completely honest, but it works. And the reason why it works is because you don't want, if something does get escalated, you don't want someone saying that you were arguing with them, because it can kind of come off that way if you guys are talking over each other. And then also, when you're trying to talk over someone, you inadvertently end up yelling, and it kind of just, it sounds like an argument, right? And the last thing you want to do is argue. You don't want to go back and forth with these people, especially somebody that's being irate. They're not going to hear what you're saying anyway. They want to get their point across. A lot of times people just want to vent. That's another thing to understand. People just want to vent, and they want somebody to listen to them. So my tactic is I'll just sit there. Even if they're screaming, even if they're talking a bunch of bullshit that makes no sense, that has nothing to do with anything, within reason. Like, if time is an issue, I will reel them back in. But if I like set aside the time to talk on this call, I'll let them go on ahead and rant and say what they got to say, and I will remain quiet. Your job in that instance is to listen to what they're saying, because a lot of times they'll tell you exactly what they want, and you can even ask them directly, like, okay, what is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for me to do? So then you guys can kind of come to, a solution. But I remain so quiet that you almost can't even hear me, especially if it's a phone situation. Like, I've had people ask me, like, are you still there? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just letting you finish. Like, you say I'm frustrated, I'm letting you finish, get it all out, and then once you're done, I'll respond. So a lot of times with that, people do appreciate just simply being listened to, because I do feel like, especially like in the industry I work in insurance, a lot of times we're extremely busy. Like, people really don't have time to sit there and listen to you rant. So a lot of adjusters will cut your ass off, right? I try not to do that, because it only makes my job harder in the long run. If it gets escalated, or, they feel like I'm not trying to help them, then like it could just kind of make the whole interaction sour. But if you just stop, listen, then you'll better be able to kind of formulate a solution when you do get a chance to speak. So try to remain quiet, calm, let them finish what they're saying. Even if it's like a long-winded situation, just let them finish. And then a lot of times I feel like, especially if you're in a situation where you get customer service scores and that goes into bonuses and stuff like that, that tactic can really help you, because people feel like you're genuinely listening, even if you're not. But people feel like you're genuinely listening and just, trying to give them the opportunity to speak their piece, and then you jump in and try to help them with a solution. Okay, so even with everything I just said, there are going to be times where people just go a little bit too far. Now, even though you can use a tactic of just, remaining quiet, not yelling back and all that stuff, there are going to be times where people get extremely disrespectful and extremely nasty. And I don't care what your company says, you do not have to take that, and you don't get paid for that. I've never seen a job description say you got to be okay being called a bitch or whatever the case, So for that, you need to learn how to professionally assert your boundaries. And what I like to do is give people a choice. So for example, I've had a few situations, again, just in the industry that I work in, I'm dealing with giving people money, people not agreeing with the amount that we're giving them, all that stuff. So I've had plenty of situations where I've had to kind of bring people back. Like, I'm listening to you, I'm giving you the floor, I'm remaining calm, but you're not about to call me out my name, you're not about to insult me or threaten me. So what I will say to them is, okay, I understand that you're upset, but there's no way we can move forward with the words that are being spoken. When we can both speak to each other in a respectful tone, we can come back to this conversation. Or if you want to have that conversation now, I'm going to need you to change the way you're speaking to me. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not telling you guys to go out there and just tell customers what to do, because I do understand that some managers are different. Some managers don't even want you to say that. I completely get that. I'm at a point in my life where I don't care what my manager says in that instance. If someone is calling me out of my name, or if somebody is, threatening me or whatever, then we gonna have to stop that. So professionally, just let them know, hey, I want to help you. I'm here to help you, but you're not going to be able to continue speaking to me this way. So again, their only choices are to keep it cute and we can talk now, or if you don't think you can do that, then we can talk at a later time. But this right here is not going to work. So figure out a way, depending on your industry and depending on your temperament, figure out a way to professionally let people know that they have crossed that boundary, and that, they're going to have to figure it out if you guys want to continue towards a solution. Okay, so another thing that kind of helps take the heat off of you personally when you're dealing with customers is to blame the policy, blame the company. Now, I'm not saying to like throw the company on the bus. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying specifically, and I'm going to go on ahead and use insurance as an example because this is what I do all the time. But a lot of times when people want me to do something that I can't do, it's because the policy, their insurance policy, will not allow me to do that. And so instead of saying, oh, the company doesn't want to do blah, 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 or, whatever, use terms like the policy, the company policy, or however you want to word it, but it literally is the agreement. So if something that they are asking for is not permitted within whatever the agreement is or whatever the company policy is, blame that. You're essentially letting them know, like, it's not me that doesn't want to do this for you. The company policy is this. But make sure that while you're telling them what the policy doesn't do, you're telling them what the policy will do. So, offer alternatives. A lot of times this is called the yes mentality. If you've worked in customer service, I'm sure you've heard that term a lot, but like you kind of want to avoid saying things that you can't do and kind of more focus on options that you can do. So a lot of times, like, I just kind of mix it in, like, okay, well, the policy won't permit me to do this, but what I can do for you is A, B, and C, something like that. So it does come off as if you are trying to work with them, but at the same time, this is your job, and your job is to uphold your company's policy. So if it's something that is out of your control, you need to let them know that, so then they understand. This doesn't always work, let me just say that, because some people will still be like, oh, let me talk to a manager, whatever. And if they want to talk to a manager, let them talk to a manager, get them off your line. But make sure that you are explaining to them that you're saying no, not because you just don't like them. You're saying no because the policy doesn't permit whatever they're asking for. Okay, so the next thing, I feel this is a big one, because sometimes when you're working in like a customer facing position, or even if you don't like have to physically face them, you're on the phone and people kind of put you on the spot. Sometimes we get a little nervous, and you get worried about, the situation escalating, or the customer trying to turn it around and make you look like you're wrong or whatever. The biggest thing I can tell you is to be upfront and truthful about what you can do and what you cannot do. So this kind of ties into the last thing, like just kind of blaming the policy. But I think that best practice is don't lead people on, especially if you work in a position like what I do, where you have like ongoing relationships with customers. Like when I get a claim, it's not just done that same day. In most cases, a lot of times I'm dealing with that person for a few weeks. And if it's like a, more complex claim, it could be a month or two, depending on, if they need repairs or any type of specialty work done. So the biggest thing for me is just like, as soon as I can let them know, even if it's bad news, this I'm not going to be able to do ever. So I just want to set the tone, let you know up front, I'm not going to ever be able to do that. I can do this, and this, but I can't do that. Let them know. I think that sometimes too, we think that people won't be able to take bad news. But what I've noticed also is that a lot of times people are like, they're way more appreciative if you just let them know up front that there's something that you can't do, so they can make arrangements to do things. The last thing you want to do is lead somebody on or have them thinking like, oh, okay, she's checking for me and she's going to get back to me. There are some things that I know I can't do. So I'm just gonna let you know up front that that's not gonna happen. Like, there's no checking. It's not gonna happen. Let them know in a professional way, obviously, that, what they're asking for just isn't possible or whatever. But, also be truthful about what you can do. Be upfront with that too. You don't want people thinking that you're working on something that you're not actually working on. I've had that situation too where, I didn't know how to tell somebody that I wouldn't be able to pay for this big piece of the claim. And instead of just telling them right then and there, like, look, this ain't gonna happen, I made it seem like I was doing some research or whatever. And the biggest thing for me is like, I knew it was gonna piss them off, but I also was like, okay, let me try to find a loophole, knowing that I probably wouldn't be able to find one. But had I just told that person right away, I would have saved myself a lot of time on follow-up phone calls. And, you know, I think she was a little bit angry, like, okay, well, you could have just told me this from jump, you know? So that was kind of like my little learning experience with that. But just be truthful. You know, a lot of people are unreasonable, but a lot of people are reasonable. And one thing is, like, if you just stand your ground and just let people know, you set that tone, like, you know, with the person, they know that no matter what, good or bad, this person's gonna let me know what it is. And people really, really respect that. Okay, so the last one I feel is probably the most simple thing to just make your life smoother in a customer service type position. But do what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it. It sounds so simple, but you'd be surprised how many times people, like good employees, drop the ball on this. And it can be easier said than done, especially when you get really busy. But that's why you don't want to overcommit something if you think it might be an issue, or, you know, it's just too tall of a task. So, for example, now I've made some videos just about how to be successful in insurance, and, you know, how to set up your desktop and all that good stuff. So I will try to find one of those videos and link it here if you are in that industry. But whatever industry, let people know, hey, I'm gonna call you tomorrow between 9 and 10. But make sure that you call them between 9 and 10, because if you don't, that automatically discredits you. Like, people look at you like, okay, she's not gonna call me at this time, and, you know, she's a liar, or whatever the case is. You get one time, a lot of times, to mess up. And here's the thing. If you are gonna be late, you need to let them know as soon as you know that you're gonna be late. If you promise somebody some documents or some paperwork, get it to them when you say you're gonna get it to them. But if something comes up, make sure that you let them know as soon as you know that it's not gonna happen by said time. I feel like even if you're not able to follow through on whatever it is, as long as you're communicating and just like letting them know, hey, I haven't forgot about you, this is what happened, people respect that. The last thing you want is to have people constantly calling, because that can make them irate and make them think that you don't know what you're doing, or that you simply just don't care. And you don't want that, especially if, you know, this is your job. And a lot of times with these positions, you know, you get bonuses off of showing good customer service. You get bonuses off of, you know, minimizing complaints and stuff like that. So don't make your job harder than what it needs to be. Let people know, this is what I can do. And then on the flip side, if somebody is asking you to commit to something that you know isn't gonna work, let them know up front and give them a more reasonable time. I've had people say, oh, you know, I'm trying to get such and such done by Friday. Today's Thursday. I can guarantee I'm probably not gonna be able to get this done in 24 hours. So I'm not gonna even lie to you and tell you that I will be able to get it done. I can have it done for you by Monday. You know, let them know this is the earliest I can do it for you. Even like when I'm setting my inspections, I've had times where people want me to come at a certain time, but I already have something planned at that time, like another inspection or whatever. So I'm gonna let them know, like, I have this going on, but I can get to you by such and such time. You know, like, give them an alternative if you cannot meet that expectation. And if you give them an alternative, make sure that you are able to commit to that, because the last thing you want to do is have your credibility discredited. So yeah, do not commit to more than what you can commit to. All right, you guys, so that is all that I have for you today. I think customer service is like a hot topic, because no, the customer is not always right. But yes, you as an employee need to be able to navigate through their concerns and come to resolutions without going crazy. I think this is important for entrepreneurs that sell goods and services. Like, you need to be able to, you know, decipher when a customer is actually being irate and when they need to be checked, or when a customer has a legitimate concern. And it's the same thing with someone who works for a company. You need to be able to do both. But at the same time, you know, you need to be able to protect yourself, assert your boundaries, and there is a way that you can do that without losing your job, or without, you know, becoming unprofessional and becoming irate and nasty yourself. It's really an art form, and it's, believe it or not, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, because I've had so many crazy situations, but you do get paid to do this. Now, it's not something that you learn overnight. I do think a lot of it, again, is going back to the first one, just kind of focusing on your mindset, understanding that a lot of these issues have nothing to do with you. They have to do with whatever the company policy is and whatever that person's going through. Sometimes people are having a bad day and they take that out on you. That is not okay, but it happens. So just kind of equipping yourself with the tools to be able to navigate through that. will help you just kind of, live a happier life. And honestly, you might even determine that customer service just is not for you. And there are a lot of positions that are not customer facing where you can just have your work and not have to deal with the public. So, kind of think about these tips. And if it's something that is just too much for you, not a big deal. I know a lot of people that refuse to work in customer service because it's just too much. Because sometimes people are extra, but I have been able to, kind of navigate and figure it out to where it works for me, and I have been able to stay employed. So if you did enjoy this video, please go on ahead and give me a big fat thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have not already subscribed, please go on ahead and click that subscribe button below, and be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. With that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad that they don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your bag, it's like I never knew you.